Behind the Glass. We're hanging out with you till noon. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube, and we'll hand it off to D'Lo and Casey, and then we'll take you into the weekend up to 4 o'clock right here on ESPN 1320. That is Sacramento Sports Leader. Everybody listening on 1320 AM and 98.5 FM HD2, salute, good morning. We appreciate you. If you're not listening on the radio anymore, that's okay. We're still available on the free Odyssey app. You download that, search ESPN 1320, favorite that station while you're there, and that way when you open the free Odyssey app, we are right there for you. Of course, YouTube and Twitch. Good morning, everybody. YouTube.com/ESPN 1320. Twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. Come hang out in the chatty house there. Good morning, everybody in the chatty house. And of course, the James Ham and Kyle Madsen show. It's the podcast version of this show. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Joe does a great job uploading every hour. And of course, the whole show, so you can catch up on anything you might have missed. And if you are a podcast listener, hello. Hope the future is going well. I think that covered all our bases, right? Did I miss anything?
I think so.
Good. 10:45 a.m. Your future AL Rookie of the Year, Jacob Wilson, a shortstop, will be joining us to chat about. Well, all right, studio audience, relax. Thank you. To chat about his scorching hot start to this season. I can't wait to talk with the A's standout shortstop. All right, before we get into basketball last night, and specifically, it wouldn't be a Warriors playoff series until Draymond Green does something. I think that's the thing. People go, series doesn't start till the road team wins a game. Like, well, no, series starts game one. Series doesn't actually start until Draymond Green does some
Green stuff.
Some Draymond stuff. And we'll dive into that. Because I do think there's a kind of nuanced discussion to be had that's more than just yelling about Draymond Green. So we're going to try and do that. But first, I'd never really felt anything toward Bill Belichick. I know he's a great coach.
Okay.
I never hated Bill Belichick. I never was super pro. I was never rooting for him because Belichick, he was just a guy who was just kind of omnipresent in my entire football watching life. Because realistically, the 2000 Patriots were from the early 2000, 2001 was when I first started watching football. And so Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were just kind of there forever. And we've reached a point now with his going to UNC and all of this stuff with his girlfriend and the interview where she's interjecting to say that they're not going to talk about their relationship. And now reporting from the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast that Bill Belichick's girlfriend has been banned from all UNC football facilities. And then we have UNC coming out and saying that's not true. She's welcome at all the facilities. I hate that Bill Belichick is going out sad like this.
It's weird, man.
It is. That's it. That's a perfect word. It's weird.
I hate when things get weird. Like, again, you say, like I'm not ambivalent about Bill Belichick. I think he's a great NFL head coach, right? He is the equivalent of, or really close to it, Greg Popovich in the NBA. These two guys at the same time have done things that, very few coaches, if any, have ever done. Just absolutely remarkable coaches. And I don't care that he wears hoodies. I don't care, cut off sleeve hoodies. I don't care about any of that stuff. I just think he's a wonderful football coach who, basically steered a dynasty.
Yes.
For 2 decades.
And was a genius. The foremost defensive mind. Completely, that his hallmark, his calling card was, man, I'm going to tear down my defense every week and rebuild it to best match the opponent.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, there's no scheme here. It's going to look different every single week. We're going to shut down the Sean McVay offense, and the wonderkind Sean McVay is going to have no idea what to do against me in the Super Bowl. And that's Bill Belichick, right? This doesn't sully his accomplishments at all.
No.
Let me be clear. And I'm even going to keep his girlfriend's age out of it. The fact that Bill Belichick, this once kind of lionized figure, who part of the mystique was that, man, he's not around in the media. He's not out there like that. And when he is prominently in the media, he's doing the NFL top 100 and he's showing off his NFL history knowledge and just having these really in-depth conversations about the brilliance of Ed Reed and all this other stuff. And now it's become the weird final years of Bill Belichick where, because down the road in 15 years, 20 years, we're going to go, yeah, remember Belichick? He was the coach at UNC and he had the weird girlfriend and she kept doing, like, that's the first thing that's going to come up when we talk about Bill Belichick, I think. And that's really, really deeply sad to me. I really hate this for him.
Yeah, I do too. Like, look, I mean,
and he's doing it like he's doing it to himself. I don't think anybody's forcing him to do this.
No,
to be clear.
I agree. I agree. He's allowing this to happen to him
Mhm.
to sort of mar his legacy. And I know, like, even the reporting, there's concerns from his family and everything.
Mhm.
Like, there are a lot of concerns about what's happening here.
Yeah.
And it's just overall just like weird and awkward. And like, you hope that he kind of snaps out of it
Mhm.
and figures out like what's really going on. And he's given a lot of power to somebody else. Like, that power dynamic of this is weird,
Mhm.
where she like controls the schedule and all this stuff. But like, I also, I don't understand why someone has to be, what does she do that makes her like banned from the building? Like,
Right.
why do people not want her there at all? And that always makes you just kind of, it's like she's like very, very much so sullying the reputation of, or this relationship is sullying the reputation of a phenomenal football coach.
Yeah, man. He's like, he's known for being so buttoned up, the Patriot way. And I get it's college, it's going to be a little bit different, but the Patriot way, and they don't let anything outside the building, and it's just all this air of control that Bill Belichick always seemed to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gone. First, he couldn't get an NFL head coaching job, and then he finally gets this job with UNC, but he gave them like this 500-page document about how everything's going to have to run, and then they're waffling on whether they're going to hire him or whether they're going to not, and now they are, and now he's got this girlfriend, and the girlfriend's interrupting interviews, and now she apparently can't go on campus. Oh, but it turns out she can. It's just unbecoming of a person who, in my mind, was so far above all this.
Yeah.
And I really hope that this is just a weird offseason thing where people need something to focus on. And I hope he has all the success at UNC and this fades into the background and he becomes this legendary college coach. That'd be great for him.
Yep. I'm with you 100%.
But man, right now, I can't believe that Bill Belichick is in the news for the reasons he's been in the news.
Like an icky story.
Yeah, just
like,
hate it for him.
Yeah.
916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. That is the Elk Grove Kia talk on it. Of course, you can hit us up in the chatty house. We're always yakking there as well. Before we get to the NBA playoffs, we got a birthday here in Sacramento.
We do.
A big shout out to Doug Christie, Sacramento Kings head coach. Yeah, go ahead, audience. Go ahead and applaud that.
And it's a big birthday. It's number 55.
Wow, 55 for Doug Christie. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's funny, like being around him for a long time, where our birthdays are actually really close.
Right.
So we've always like joked around about it. So I texted him this morning and just, I think when you get elevated to a head coaching position and all that stuff, I think there's so much mystique and like you've got to be different. But I still think that it's nice to get a text on your birthday saying happy birthday, because like his world is just upside down right now. He's totally spun out.
He's just grinding tape.
He's just
phone rings,
trying to figure out exactly who he's going to hire as an assistant coach. Like all of these rumors floating around everywhere, all this chaos and everything. He's got to build a staff. He's got draft prospects coming in, and Jackie's got her TV show. Like there's so much going on, and it's like, oh man, it's my birthday. Oh, all right.
Ding.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's always nice getting the happy birthday. I love on Facebook for a long time. I've told the story before on air, so I'll do the short version. I had my birthday blocked on Facebook. Just because it's never been that big of a thing. Like I had birthday parties and stuff growing up, but not a huge thing for me. Like I'll just go to dinner. Like that's all. I don't need anything crazy. But I was living in Arizona and was out at dinner, ordered a drink, got ID'd on my birthday, and we were just hanging out. It wasn't, and waiter goes, "Oh, happy birthday." And I got lambasted by my group of friends.
Oh, I forgot. You did tell this story.
Yes. Yeah. They were so mad at me because I didn't tell them it was my birthday. So I put my birthday back up on Facebook. It's so funny. Just the people I haven't talked to in 15 years who I met at like a party in college and we became Facebook friends and then I never saw them again. Like, hey, happy birthday. Hope everything's going well.
Kyle, try
Bruce.
getting to like my age where all the people from high school that you literally haven't seen in like 30 years,
Yeah.
you're like, they start hitting you. I'm like, hey, happy birthday. It's like, wow, random. Like, yo, what's up? I forgot we were even Facebook friends.
Right. Like, we haven't talked in forever. Yeah, on purpose. Like, yeah, I know. But no, I appreciate it so much when people do that. If it's a text, if somebody is taking time out of their day on Facebook, they go on Facebook, they see that, oh, Kyle Madsen has a birthday today, they type it out. That's so wonderful. That's so kind that anybody would do that. Like, whether we knew each other for 30 seconds or 30 years, like, that's dope. Getting a text message is crazy. When someone texts me on my birthday, I'm like, do you know how much it means to me that you care about this day so much? You care about me so much that you're going to fire off, even at just like, happy birthday, exclamation point. It's just like, that means the world to me. And so I can imagine that Doug Christie today, because I don't have anything going on. He has a lot going on. I imagine that means a lot. To get a little text from the homie like, hey, HBD.
I hope that,
I hope it does anyway.
I hope he gets that from a bunch of people and it just like, it's a little bit of a reality check. Like, like get
World
back to basics.
Exists.
Yeah. The world does still exist and you've got to figure out how to mine not just like what's happening in the Kings facility, but also life in general.
Yeah.
And it's a big one. That's a big one.
We have a bunch of stuff to get to here. That's James. I'm Kyle. Joe Brazil is our producer. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is The Insiders. I have a bunch of stuff from the Warriors Timberwolves game. I want to put a pin in the Draymond Green aspect of the conversation because I think it's going to go a little bit longer than we have. But as I was watching that game last night, and the Timberwolves won going away, 117-93 was the final. But you went into the game. Hi, Spencer. You went into the game. Yeah, jump in the chatty house at youtube.com/ESPN1320 and get shout outs. So going into the game, you had said last night you didn't think that the Timberwolves were capable of beating even the Steph Curry-less Warriors by like 40.
Yeah.
And then the game starts and they go out to a 13-0 run to start the game. And they were up 20 plus in the second quarter. And you were just like, oh, I
text you.
Yeah, you were like, man, I might have been wrong.
No, I said I think the Timberwolves are trying to prove me wrong. They listened to the show and are trying to prove me wrong.
That's it. That's right. We know they're locked in. Chris Finch, big listener. And we were the bulletin board material. And I was like, well, this doesn't count. Like beating this is not, they might pitch a shutout tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Warriors are going to score. As that game progressed, they proved you more and more correct. And I've been on the Timberwolves bandwagon since Julius Randle came back and started playing really well. I've been like, hey, that's a dangerous team. That's a dangerous team. That's a dangerous team. Watching them, and they won by 24. But watching them have to scratch and claw to fend off Buddy Hield and like Jonathan Kuminga and sort of Draymond Green and a little bit of Jimmy Butler, it made it really clear to me that you're right. They don't have that double birds FU like, oh, you're down. Hey, watch how many we're going to win by energy. The Warriors cut the lead to 7 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
They let them climb back into the game and it was not, again, they blew them out to be totally certain, but that wasn't a 24-point victory that made me go, oh, the Warriors aren't winning another game in this series. I very much think Golden State could get one of the next 2 games. One of the next 2 games.
I think it's interesting if you look at the playoffs. There are a couple of teams like I think Denver can drop a 40 on you. Clearly, OKC
agreed.
just showed that they can do it.
Yep.
I think Boston can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the
Boston's
Knicks
beat the Warriors by 50 multiple times.
I don't think the Knicks can. I don't think the Knicks are that team because they're not deep enough.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because in order to blow someone out like that, you have to actually have, a couple of guys off the bench go for a combined 30, right?
Right.
And then on top of that, like I think the Pacers can do that. I don't know that the Cavs can, or at least say they have to prove that they can.
The Cavs, I think, also beat the Warriors by 50 this year, so I've watched them do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they can beat the Pacers by 40.
No.
I don't know if they can beat the Pacers at all.
Yeah, we're going to see. We're going to see.
But yeah, as I was watching that last night, I'm like, man, they just look like, okay, everything was all good in the beginning. And then it was like the Warriors punched back and Minnesota didn't have a real response. Like they won by 24 just because they were more talented.
Yeah.
But they never just put that game in a chokehold and were like, nope, you're done. Up until there was 6 minutes left in the fourth where it was like, oh, all right, fine. All right, game's over. It should not have lasted that long. That should have been a starters are out early fourth quarter type of game.
Yeah, it just, to me, it's that they're not serious yet.
Yeah, it's just they're
not there.
And I think that might have to do with Anthony Edwards. And we'll get to that. But we got to talk about Draymond Green as well because series officially started. Draymond Green hit somebody in the face. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of his post-game comments too, because I think it makes this conversation a little more nuanced. So we're going to try and do that. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Matz and Joe Brazil behind the glass. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is The Insiders, and we're hanging out with you till noon right here on ESPN 1320. That is Sacramento Sports Leader. Last night was the perfect Jonathan Kuminga experience game. It just encapsulated everything that's frustrating about him as a player. He looked so good offensively, but that's it. It's not, he looks so good offensively because, wow, look at the playmaking. Look at that. It's like, nah, he just dribbles in, and sometimes he's going to hit the midi, and sometimes he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Drew were talking about this last night a little bit. It just kind of, it's like, cool, man. He was started 7 for 7, hit a big three, or maybe was it Kuminga's three that cut it to 7? I think it was Buddy's. But anyways, doesn't matter. Hit a big three, oh man, okay, look at this. And it's like, all right, he can score. Yeah, we know that. We got that down. We know he can put the ball in the hoop. Can he be an impactful defensive player? Can he grab some rebounds? Can he make some hustle plays? And he just doesn't.
Yeah. It's Marvin Bagley-esque.
Ooh, that's kind of interesting.
I mean, people forget Marvin Bagley, the first 3 years of his career, averaged 14 and 7. That's not a horrible NBA player. It's just not a top 2 pick, especially when Luka's number 3 and Trey's number 4, Jaren Jackson's number 5. I didn't look at the box from last night's Warriors game at the end. Boy, Moody just disappearing.
He is, man. I never got the sense that, oh, I see, the Wolves basically took over. Yeah, a little bit.
I'm feeling way better, Russ. I just have little hang-ups in my voice. That's all.
When did they cut it to 7? When was that? 7. There it is. About halfway through the third. But that's just it. Is they got it to 20, but then it was what we're talking about is they don't just have that like I said, that FU. They got it to 20, but then it was back to 17, up to 19. Okay, got it to 6. It was, again, it wasn't like Golden State was in danger of winning the game, but it was, man, they're a couple of threes and a couple of stops away from this getting super interesting. And that was the case up until like where was it? Oh yeah, this was the stretch. So this 15-point game. Buddy Hield hit a 3 to make it 15 with 5 minutes left. But then Julius Randle scores, Buddy Hield missed 3, Ant scores, Butler missed 3, Randle scores. It was like, all right, it's done.
That's a great point.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
All right, let's talk about Draymond Green.
Do we have to?
Yeah, like a little bit. I also want to say, just in case this got misrepresented, because I worry that it did. The thing we were talking about with the Timberwolves is not that they were in danger of losing that game last night.
No.
It got to 7 midway-ish through the third quarter. By the end of the third, they had gotten it back to 20. But it was they didn't really put Golden State away.
Yep.
Like they were holding them at arm's length. But until like 4 minutes left in the fourth, it was, man, Golden State's a couple of threes and a couple of stops away from this getting very, very interesting. And it's again, it was a really resounding win for Minnesota, but it wasn't what we saw with Oklahoma City the other night against Denver.
Mm-hmm.
That like, no, we're going to score 90 points in the first half and you're going to have no shot. Like Golden State had a shot in that game, quote unquote, until, and we'll call it midway through the fourth.
I think this is how I would describe it. Okay, so you've been to a kid's birthday party where they have a piñata.
Yes.
Yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get the kid out there that like he just barely whacks the piñata, like he's not doing any damage, even though he makes contact.
Right, kid's just trash.
Then you get the next kid, and that kid, he does a little damage, but he's erratic and clearly he's never swung a baseball bat before.
Right, like might almost hit a parent.
Yeah. Then you get the one kid out there, and you know the kid before him, he probably could have knocked a leg off and spilled some of the candy out.
Yeah.
But then you get the next kid out there and he just goes to work and everybody's like, holy cow, not only is he going to like explode the piñata, but he's probably going to hit some other kid. That's what we're talking about. That next gear that some people have.
What a wild ass analogy.
That others don't. And like, I think the Timberwolves are the guy, they're the team that can knock a leg off and you know, like they can knock some of the candy out and you're like, oh yay, and like everyone hold up, dive on the candy, hold the bat, and now but then you get that other kid and like everybody in the room's like, oh, this is violent, this is happening. That's what we're talking about, that killer instinct that just makes like that's they don't have it. They like as of right now they don't, and I don't know if they're ever gonna have it. It's possible it's part of the like just a blend of players, or
kind of their DNA,
or it might be that Anthony Edwards just isn't that guy, because you can be great and not still have that.
Yeah, there's and maybe I'm way over judging off of one game. Ant did bust up his ankle pretty bad.
Yeah,
and he finished with 20,
and he's gone for 40 multiple times. And
it's just is he going to be that guy? And it may not matter. Like this isn't it's not that the Timberwolves are bad or something. It's just, I think this means they are more susceptible to getting punched in the mouth early and being like, all right, well, we just,
it's not our night.
Yeah. Or letting a team that has no business climb back into a game.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of been the trait of the Warriors all season long. How many times did they blow these gigantic leads?
All of the time.
That's why you didn't have any faith that they were going to be a big time, like they are not competing for the NBA championship this year. If they do somehow, and I'm wrong, I will fully admit it. I'll be like, hey, look at that. They're in the NBA finals. It's game 6 and they're still in it. Okay.
I've been hesitant. Let me just say on this is a little bit separate from the discussion we're having, but let me just say on this, I've been really hesitant with ranking Steph Curry all time, because of my bias toward him. I love Steph. So I try not to, but D'Lo and Casey and Jesse, the show after us, they're like, oh, he's top 10. Like, he's a top 10 guy. I'm like,
player of all time.
Yeah. And it's like, oh man, that's tough. If they win it this year, it's not even a question anymore for me. Like that's the level of, it would be a massive upset if they wind up winning this series and then wind up winning the Western Conference Finals against either Denver or OKC, and then beating whoever in the final. It would be 3 insane upsets.
It would be an upset if they beat Minnesota. Like
that's what I said. If they win this series,
yeah, because Steph's out. Like, and at 37, if he can come back with a hamstring issue and fight through, I still like, even though I'm not a Warriors fan, I still consider him a top 10 player of all time, and I think he's been the most impactful player to the game since Michael Jordan. Like, they changed rules in the game because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
and the game has changed, whether rules or whatever. The game has changed so dramatically because of Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And you can add James Harden, you can add, Damian Lillard into that discussion.
Yeah.
As far as like guys that helped this revolution of 3-point shooting. But Steph Curry he was the forefront of it.
Yeah.
Like the pulling
tip of
up
the spear for sure.
Yeah. From 40 feet or 35 feet and just nothing but net. Like I do think he's probably one of the most impactful players the game has ever seen. And so he's going to be in the top 10. And I'd even say this. I know like some basketball junkies are going to, like, I think he's a better player. I think he's in the top, the NBA hierarchy. I put him above Kevin Durant. Like, he's a guy that won championships without having to go to a team like Durant did. And it was Durant that kept running into the Warriors and not being able to figure it out, playing alongside another Hall of Famer.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I think Steph's probably, I don't know where he's at in the top 10, but he's high, especially with all the championships.
Yeah, for sure. It's Daryl Morey and the Rockets just in general are also up there just in terms of this whole 3-point revolution thing. I think Steph was the embodiment of the impact a single player can have as a shooter.
Yeah.
But the Rockets were the team. If you go look at their 3-point attempt rates, they, since like 2014, have always been way, way up there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it did start with the George Karl offenses too, the dribble drive motion offense.
Yep.
So either scoring at the rim or hitting the corner 3. That's all you took.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
So tough.
For sure. All right. Series doesn't start till Draymond Green gets a tech. I think there's his post-game comments about being tired of the narrative of painting him as an angry black man. I'm going to leave to the side because I think that is a separate discussion from what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I think it's also because someone said something to him very specifically in the stands that was inappropriate.
Yes, that fan was ejected for a racist comment they threw at Draymond Green. And if that, so that's why that's one of those, he has had experiences in life that I can't speak to and won't speak to.
Of course.
So that is, if that's how he is feeling, I am not going to tell him one way or the other how to feel on that front.
No, I totally agree.
We are all on board. There's no room for that at an NBA game. You can tell a guy he's trash. You can tell a guy he sucks. You can say he looks dumb. You can't, the racism stuff doesn't fly, right?
No.
We're all on board, and that's a separate thing. Okay. Then there's the other side of this that we are going to talk about. And it's the thing that we talk about once a playoff series, at least for the last 10 years.
Plus,
because last night, sure enough, he's faced up on Naz Reid. Naz Reid reaches the hand in, so Draymond tries the rip through. Fine. Perfectly fair move. And a lot of guys, when they do the rip through, they hit the arm, throw the ball up in the air, throw their hands up in the air, and get the foul. Draymond gets the rip through and then swings his arm across and hits Naz Reid in the face and catches a technical foul for it. There's a difference between because my guy Anthony Garcia from NBC Sports Bay Area hit me on the internet because I was just like, cool, awesome, highest IQ player on the court, super poised, this is great, super savvy veteran stuff, nice job, Draymond, you did it. And he said, well, he's the emotional leader of the team. You got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Draymond. My argument is, no, you don't. You have to take the good with the bad in the sense of, you know what? Sometimes he's going to get fired up and he's going to get in an opponent's face and they're going to jaw at each other and there's going to be double techs. Or sometimes he's going to get a tech because the team comes out a little bit slow. And so he's going to get fired up at a ref and try and get the team fired up in that way. Okay, fine. Sometimes he's going to get into it with a coach. Sometimes he's going to get into it with Steve Kerr, and Lisa Salters is going to report that cops had to go into the locker room. Okay. That's the give and take. Where there's no give and take is swinging your arms and hitting an opponent. That's not, or your legs. That's not helping the basketball. That's not helping the team. It's actively hurting the team. This is not, emotional leader Draymond just doing the Draymond thing. Like, that's not helping anything. It's a bummer. That does the opposite of being the emotional leader. That's a temper tantrum that's happening on the court, and it happens all the time.
You know, Kyle, I've watched it for years, and I just don't understand.
I don't get it.
I don't, because, like, the kicking, how many people has he kicked in the groin?
Or nearly in the so many
stomping on the chest of Domantas Sabonis, and people try. Oh, he grabbed his foot. That's fine. He grabbed his foot.
He did.
He did
make him stomp on his chest.
But then he jumped off his chest. Like that's where I get so frustrated because none of it is basketball.
That's it.
It's not basketball. It's trash, and he's done it for years, and he hurts his team. Just straight up, he hurts his team all the time. And the fact that he is either one or two technicals away from suspension, depends on what you're reading. The reason why there's a question mark is because they gave him a flagrant foul, not a technical, for when he dropped a leg on somebody's head trying to hit his head off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like he kicked somebody in the head and got a flagrant for it. He didn't get a technical for it. He should have got a tech. He should have been out of the game, and we shouldn't have had to deal with him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now here he is, like either one or two technicals away from being suspended for a game.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, dude, are you ever going to get it? I've told you this a bunch of times. DeMarcus Cousins used to ask me all the time. He would like go like this.
Mm-hmm.
I go over. He go, hey man, why are you writing about my technical fouls again? I'm like, because you got another technical. He's like, well, yeah, but why do you have to every single time bring up all the other technicals? And I'm like, well, I'll just make you a deal. You stop getting technicals, I'll stop writing about it.
Seems pretty easy.
How about that?
Pretty straightforward.
And he's like, okay, fair. And I'm like, hey, man, it's not part of the game. What you're doing is not part of the game. Control yourself.
That's it. I understand the emotional fire and the competitive fire that Draymond plays with is a huge reason that he is as good as he is defensively.
I agree.
It is a huge reason that he has been the emotional heartbeat of the Warriors for a decade or whatever. But the flailing and the kicking and the
nonsense,
is not part of that. That is a separate thing that, like you said, it hurts the team. Last night, the Warriors needed every point they could get. They needed Draymond on the floor last night.
Yep.
Whether you think he's good at basketball or not, like if you don't, like I'm sorry, he is. Like he is. He's good at basketball. He's not a great scorer, but he's good at a lot of other stuff. So they needed him last night. And he has to go to the bench because he's too angry. Like that's not being an emotional leader. That's just being emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's looking at that and going, I'm fired up to play now. Let's go. Everybody's looking at him like, damn, dude, we're already down 15 and you're giving him a free point. And now you've got to sit. Now we got Trace Jackson Davis coming in. Like, that's not, and to and this is where, like I said, you made the joke. Like, I don't want to talk about this. I've run out of things to say.
Yeah.
Because Steve Kerr, and this goes on Steph Curry's shoulders as well, because if Steph Curry, when Draymond Green's contract is up a couple years ago, had Steph Curry walked into Joe Lacob's office and been like, nah, I'm done with all that, they would have been done with it.
Yeah.
But they believe that he is so vital to their success that they decided, all right, 4 years, $100 million, let's go. We're going to run it back. So it's very clear Golden State's not going to do anything about it. The league is not going to, has gone the other direction of, hey, we're going to do everything we can to make sure Draymond doesn't get suspended and that he doesn't get ejected from games. So it's, it's enabling.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, it's one of those things. It's a different version, but different, I don't know, different poop, same pile, I guess.
Yeah.
Of like watching Luka Doncic play. I can't stand watching Luka play in large part because after every drive, it's at the refs and he's standing at one end of the court and the other team, the team's playing 5-on-4. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just packaged a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's like a weird entitlement.
Yeah, man. I
don't get it either. Like you should be allowed to do this stuff. And why are people reacting so poorly to it? It's like, no, people are just sick of it. And you were really, really, really close to that moment where they're so sick of watching your stuff on the court that your skill levels come down to a point where you're almost not worth it at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was the harsh reality with like a guy like DeMarcus.
He hit that point like 3 years ago.
Of course he did.
And they're just letting it roll.
Yeah.
So I like I said, I've given up on the idea that like, oh, this is never going to get fixed. Like, no, he's going to get suspended at some point in this series. Book that. If you can bet on that, bet on it. Draymond will get suspended. Like, that is a thing I am so sure is going to happen.
And how does that help the Golden State Warriors at all?
It doesn't.
It does not help them one bit.
Not even one small amount.
No.
It's so frustrating because this isn't, like I said, I know he had his comments after the game, and this to me is so separate from that because if he was just loud, and I think that's part of it. I do think there's some language used with him sometimes that I think is a little bit over the top.
Mm-hmm.
But like, man, kind of when you play in that end of the pool for so long, that just kind of becomes your reputation, no matter what you do, whether you earned it or not. And I try really hard to sympathize in that regard. But when it comes to the flailing your arms and legs and hitting opponents and tripping opponents and pushing opponents and stomping on opponents' chests and kicking them in the head, like, I'm sorry, this is not about a narrative. This is all the stuff about like he was screaming at this guy and that guy and he stormed over there. Okay, cool. We can talk language in that regard. When it comes to you elbowing Naz Reid in the face, after you've done it now to what Fred VanVleet, I think he got Jalen Green in the Rocket series. Like that's the thing. Like that's it.
It's like a rite of passage in the NBA. It's
happened so many times now.
Yeah.
That, man, the physical stuff doesn't play. It doesn't fly. That's not a ref problem. That's not a fan problem. That's not a narrative problem. That is a Draymond Green problem.
That's it. End of story. Draymond Green problem.
We'll talk about this again once he gets suspended. That's James. I'm Kyle. Joe Brazil's over there. Jacob Wilson, I'm sorry, I meant to relay this to you guys. Jacob Wilson will not be joining us at 10:45.
Oh.
So we'll have more NBA playoffs. The Ringer put together a fascinating pyramid. Are pyramids the new tiers? We'll talk about that next. No, it's trustworthiness of NBA stars in the playoffs. And I think this list is really, really interesting. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil's over there. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. It's ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Yeah, Jesus. Already punched a guy in the face on his own team.
Yeah, it's just such a bummer.
It's a good point, guys. I'm sorry, I was so focused on stuff that he was doing to other teams that I forgot he also punched his own teammate in the face. Hey, and by the way, just while we're here, I'm going to continue whining about this. Do you know who the Warriors could really use right now with Steph Curry out? Boy, couldn't they use somebody with like NBA Finals experience? who plays roughly the same position.
Doesn't mind shooting a whole bunch of shots.
Doesn't mind, is not scared to shoot it. Golden State's the only offense in the league where they're like, hey, drive and kick, let's get open threes. And then when they get open threes, they got a bunch of dudes who are like, let's drive again. If I have to watch Quentin Post's big ass catch on the corner and go, let's drive one more time, I'm getting a television remote removed from my television.
That's right.
Sure. Maybe say like prediction in there or something. Try and fit that word because I don't want it to sound like I'm trying to report that. Yeah, nice, dude. Atta babe. What's Draymond's status day to day? Oh, is he hurt? No. Yeah, Russ Dog, we're talking about Jordan Poole.
Kill the mics for a sec.
Good morning, Chatty House. How we feeling?
We were talking
What's up,
about
Russ
Jacob
Dog?
Wilson being rescheduled.
I do, and so people like to ask me what they're talking about. I'm behind the glass.
Yeah, Joe also can't hear.
I cannot hear when they're having private conversations. So I am with you guys, Chatty House. I'm hanging out with y'all.
Do you know what's crazy? Is that supposed to be a soundproof, that room? It's not.
Oh, no.
Well, two things. Number one, every time Kevin runs by, you hear it. And number two, for whatever reason, high heels go right through the walls here.
It's like there's microphones in the when one of our I don't want to put her on blast. When one of our salespeople who wears high heels every day walks in, everybody knows it.
It doesn't matter, like whether she's on carpet or on cement.
It is a
ding, 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 ding. You're like right through the walls. You're like, it's very strange. It's got to be some sort of frequency thing. I don't know. It's weird.
I often hear.
Oh yeah, put your visa.
So when it gets a little bit quieter, because I'm over in the back working my promotions once the show ends, I can hear Abe screaming through the wall, like as clear as day.
Yeah,
as clear as day.
Yeah, that's like there's been times where like the carolers have come through and they're like all walking down here and they're all talking. It's like, hey, not that we're super serious people.
Well, they actually came into the studio and you guys.
Did.
It seemed like you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Didn't they pour us a drink?
Yes,
they tried to.
Oh, they tried to.
Did they bring us a drink?
Well, I remember Miller
they had a whole cart.
Drinks.
Yeah, they brought it was a whole thing.
That was fun.
I'm gonna just FYI, if we do the Christmas caroling again this year and it's during our show, I'm going.
Yeah, I didn't go to that last time.
I won't be going to. Oh no, I was gonna go to the second one, but the Niners played that night, so I had to go home. That's right. That's what happened. Yeah, I need to catch up on Star Wars stuff. I haven't watched any Andor.
I haven't either.
It's apparently just phenomenal TV. I can't wait to watch.
I've watched the first like 8 or 9 episodes.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
That guy over there is James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. That guy over there is Joe Brazil. We comprise the Insiders, or the James Ham and Kyle Madsen show if you're listening on the podcast feed. It's the same show, different name. Just casting a wide net, I guess. Anyway, it's all sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Salute to them. We love them very much. So The Ringer put out a pyramid of the most trusted stars remaining in the NBA playoffs. And I am fascinated by this pyramid. I can't decide if I like a pyramid idea more than tiers.
Well, you invented tiers. That's
I did
why.
invent tiers, right? Yeah, I'm the first person to ever use those. And to trademark the insiders.
Where the pyramid was first used for
by the Anunnaki when they first visited Earth and wanted to Joe.
Don't get me started.
We're
gonna get off topic.
Or it's possible that it was, invented by people trying to, build like the food pyramid. So, but as far as tiers, that was Kyle.
Yeah, tiers were on me, but pyramids work kind of the same way because you have one at the top, but then you have to go a higher amount below that, and then a higher amount below that, and then because with tiers you could have one guy in tier 1 and 4 guys in tier 2 and 2 guys in tier 3 and 1 guy in tier 4. Like there's no shape.
Yeah.
So at the pyramid, 1 player at the top, 2, then 3, then 4 is how they built this. Again, this is from The Ringer. Do you want to start at the top or the bottom? No, we'll start at the top.
Okay.
The most trustworthy player in the NBA playoffs. And they had the discussion on the Bill Simmons podcast. So I did not listen to this entire discussion. So knowing that it's Simmons, it's probably got a bunch of weird parameters and stuff. But Nikola Jokic is the most quote unquote trustworthy player left in the NBA playoffs. And I have a hard time disagreeing with that.
No, I agree. I agree 100%.
He's done it in the regular season. He's done it in the postseason. He has a ring. And any player that you go into a game and you're going, he's going to be the best player on the court, and he might also get a triple-double.
Any player that is going into the game, there's a potential for him to have a plus, a more or less of like 59 points, rebounds, and assists, and has the potential to go for 75 points, rebounds, and assists. I mean,
which is the thing that's happened.
The one game he post like a 77 points, rebounds, assist. Like,
yeah, he's had some.
It's just absolutely bonkers what he's able to do.
Yeah,
like he's one of the most gifted basketball players we've ever seen, and again, whether he's in the top 10 of all time, it's very possible when it's all said and done. But for me, yes, he's in a tier by himself. At the top, he's at the top of the pyramid by himself, way up high.
Thank you for correcting that. Hey, I have something hilarious for you. What was the number you said?
77.
Oh, buddy, you got to go higher than that. He had an 81 points, rebounds, assist game.
What?
Yeah, 61, 10, and 10 against Minnesota. A loss, a double overtime loss. In regulation, he had a 56, 16, and 8. So that's 80. In regulation, points, rebounds, and assists, in a loss to Washington.
Oh, no. To Washington?
Yeah.
Now, he also, he had a game what did he do early in the first game? Didn't he put up 44 and 22 or 42 and 22?
Oh, the first game of the series?
Yeah, that's even without his assist numbers.
42, 22, and 6.
Okay, so that's 70. That's bonkers.
Points, rebounds, and assists. 17, 8, and 6 in the next game, though. 17, 8, and 6, and his team lost by 43 points. Yeah, man. He's the most, by far, if you're doing trustworthy. His least productive game in round 1 was 16, 10, and 8.
But they probably won that game.
That was game 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Man. What a player. Next on the list, extremely trustworthy.
Extremely trustworthy.
So,
okay.
like right there, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Jalen Brunson. I believe firmly Jalen Brunson should be in this tier because whenever Jalen Brunson has the ball in crunch time, I believe that ball is going to go in the hoop. That's purely anecdotal.
I'm with you.
He's just a dog. He's going to, whether it makes sense in your brain or not, he's going to get to his spot. He's going to get a shot up, and it's probably going to go in.
Did you see that play he had against Porzingis the other night where he literally dribbled all the way underneath the basket and just kept slamming into Porzingis got all the way around the other side, and then turned around and shot the ball really quick and made it.
Yep.
Porzingis is like 7'3".
Yep. Should be sending that to Narnia.
Yep.
And just gets beat.
Yeah, and what is Brunson like 5'11"?
I think he's listed at 6'2".
Oh yeah.
No chance. No chance. So I don't know. Is there a player in the league that you'd want taking the last shot more than Jalen Brunson right now? I don't think there is for me. Even more so than Jokic.
I don't know. That's a good.
Aaron Gordon apparently got 2 game winners in the playoffs already. Tyrese Halliburton,
Buddy Hield.
Oh, I mean, come on, that's a given.
Steph Curry if he's healthy.
Yes, but man, Jalen Brunson just every time he has the ball late in the game. I know he got fouled the other night against Boston, but I had once the Knicks had possession down by 1, and it gets into Brunson's hands. Like, oh, this is ball game. I might put Brunson, if we were doing tiers instead of a pyramid, Brunson would be tier 1 for me. SGA is a different story though. I don't know how I feel about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the playoff performer, because he's not. This might just be one of those things he hasn't done it until he does it. You know, where maybe he goes through and has an awesome conference semis and offers an awesome conference finals, and he's a finals MVP. And oh my God, Shai. But I need to see that first.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just gonna look at his playoff performance. 30, 34, 33, 38, 31, 27, and then he had a 15, but it's in a 51-point blowout.
Right.
36, 30, 34, 31, 33, 29. I mean,
maybe, you know what I think this is? I don't view, which I just saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's full name for the first time, and oh my God, that's an experience. I think the issue is, man, you're right. I don't.
Yeah, man, he's been so good.
I guess, okay.
I mean, you can look at his first 2 playoff series, and he was erratic. Where they lost to the Clippers and they lost to Houston. A couple of years, both in Game 7. They lost, but then starting with the Pelican series, the Dallas series, the Memphis series, and now the series with Denver, he's just been unbelievable.
He's been really freaking good. You're right. Here's the thing that jumps out to me, and it might just be that. Hang on, I'm looking at some percentages real quick.
Over his last 16 playoff games, he's shooting 48.2% from the field, 35.6 from 3, and he's averaging, where's points? Wow, I don't know why this is being so complicated. 30 per game.
Man.
And I would say the best part about that is the low is 15, but let's just take that one out because it was a massive blowout, right? Outside of that, the low is 24 and the high is 38. He's just so consistent in one zone,
I guess I'm not going to quibble with him being in the second level of this pyramid. I think the thing I struggle with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is that you look at Nikola Jokic and it's like the world revolves around Nikola Jokic and with the Nuggets. Jalen Brunson, the world revolves around Jalen Brunson with the Knicks. Steph Curry and the Warriors, Jason Tatum and the Celtics. They're so very clearly that guy. And Shai is that guy for the Thunder. Don't get it twisted. But I think I view the Thunder through a more holistic lens of I view the Thunder as just this dominant team. How much time did we spend yesterday talking about all their second rounders and UDFAs coming off the bench? That's I think where my mind goes when I think Thunder, and less, Shai is the guy carrying them right now. I think that's where my brain gets messed up. And I don't want to dock Shai because, there's too much talent around him. Yeah, there's a ton of talent around him. He still averages 30 a night.
Well, but again, a lot of that talent isn't the top tier talent.
Right.
I mean, it's not like...
How many guys is he making better?
Yeah. I mean, you've got Chet, who's a top 3 pick. But outside of that, do you have another player? I guess the good Jalen Williams is a top 11, 12 pick.
Yeah.
But that's not a team that's just packed with the top of the line, top tier players.
Okay, I've had my mind changed.
Okay.
Shea belongs there. Well argued by you. We have 2 more pieces of this pyramid to go. Tiers of the pyramid, 2 more layers of the pyramid, levels of the pyramid.
Levels of the pyramid.
Levels of the pyramid.
Levels
groups,
of the pyramid.
Food groups, pyramid groups. 2 more player groups to go. We've got fruits and vegetables
and dairy
and dairy and grains.
Yes.
We've got those left on the Ringer's most trustworthy playoff stars right now. Getting into the next 2 levels of this pyramid is where it gets really, really interesting for me. And I can't wait to discuss it with you guys on ESPN 1320. That is Sacramento Sports Center. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil on the 1s and 2s. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. And we're back in a second on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Center. Hey, yo. Portillo. Portillo's named a sandwich after the Pope.
Oh, wow.
Do you see the picture of him at the 2005 World Series?
Yeah.
It's a cool picture.
Really cool. He's a White Sox fan, it turns out. No. Let's do the next one. Yeah. We'll talk about yeah. It'll be more interesting. Ooh, Mother's Day plans. I'm just gonna go hang out with my mom. Probably drink some wine, play some cards. Zabo, big Celtics fan, I've heard. We got a lot of Celtics fans in here, I see. Not a fan, supporter. Very important.
That's true. Did you, that whole entire conversation with Kenny was spectacular.
It was really, really good.
Guys, an ad just worked. I know what I'm having for lunch.
Oh, what are we having?
The Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Chick-fil-A sandwich.
That probably went out over the air, but that's fine. The ding.
Oh, that's fine. No, that's fine.
That makes sense. Shout out. Nope.
Polls. Dude. Oh, come on. I got a Roundhouse beanie. They've seen me wear it. They probably just didn't realize that I was wearing it. I got a beanie. It's got green on it. Roundhouse Deli. I think it has a rose on it. Roundhouse
Fire?
Deli. Fire.
Where's that at?
Off of Church Street in Old Town Roseville. I need to just take you guys there.
You told me about that.
Yeah, you owe us big time.
I'm going to take you guys. Let's go.
I'll buy you guys lunch.
We also like the cheese shop in Newcastle's incredible.
Love that place. Just had some food from there the other day.
The rat trap sandwich.
Yep.
Johnny G, dude, I love a sandwich. Johnny G, I'm not going to put that in the chat. Hour number 2, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil on the 1s and 2s. We're hanging out with you till noon. Then we'll hand it off to D-Lo and KC. And they will take you up to 4 o'clock into the weekend. Right here on ESPN 1320. That is Sacramento Sports Leader. I want to remind you this weekend we have game 3 of Timberwolves Warriors right here at 5 p.m. Coverage begins on Saturday, and then Sunday, Sunday night baseball. Phillies at Guardians, 3 p.m. is when coverage begins. That is right here on ESPN 1320. Johnny G asked a question in the chatty house. And both is the answer, Johnny G. If you want to participate in the chatty house, youtube.com/ESPN 1320. Twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. Excuse me. Working through a hiccup. Here we go. All right. So the Ringer put together a pyramid of the most trustworthy players left in the NBA playoffs. And we talked about this a little bit with guys like Tyrese Halliburton and Anthony Edwards, and where do they kind of land in their superstar ascension. And we've talked a lot about that because it feels like last postseason and this postseason are really about kind of the passing of the torch, right? This playoffs now has no Kevin Durant. It has no LeBron James. Steph Curry is in the playoffs, but he's currently hurt, and his team is tied 1-1. There's just a really, really good chance that we get a finals that has none of the old guard in it.
Mm-hmm.
So the last 2 playoffs have felt like that, kind of in real time passing of the torch. So I think the individual player discussion is interesting. The most trustworthy player in the playoffs, according to the Ringer, is Nikola Jokic. The second level of the pyramid is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Brunson. The third level is where things get interesting. This is the trustworthy level. And there are 3 players in the trustworthy level. The first one is Tyrese Halliburton. I'm going to stop there. I have a really difficult time arguing against Tyrese Halliburton at this point. If this was this time last year where you and I both watched him avoid the basketball against the Knicks in the playoffs, I think I would have been hesitant to call him a trustworthy player. And his stat line may vary on a night-to-night basis, but when there's a player who I know is capable of going for 20 and 10 anytime he steps on the floor, 20 or 10 plus, and he's going to take and make a game-winning shot, a crunch time shot, that's a player that to me is the definition of trustworthy, and I have a really hard time not putting Tyrese Halliburton in there based on what we've seen this postseason.
Okay, I'm going to take the counterpoint on this.
Okay, great.
Look, I think certainly he has had the flair for the dramatic. He's been able to hit the big shot, right? But we're also looking at a player who went 3 of 13 in the first game of the playoffs this year and scored 10 points. Who scored 14 points in game 3 and 17 in game 4. Sure, is he averaging 18 points a game for the playoffs? Something like that, maybe. 18.4, that's what he's averaging. But right now he's shooting 47% from the field. He's shooting 30.6 from 3 in this year's playoffs.
Right.
I don't think he's trustworthy. I think he's a big shot maker. And he's also played a Milwaukee Bucks team that, just folded up and had Damian Lillard miss a bunch of time. He's now playing a Cleveland Cavaliers team that has 3 starters that have missed games, or at least 3 rotational players, 2 starters, including the best defensive player in the league. So I'm not there yet. I would have put him in a different bucket. I do trust Donovan Mitchell. Now, it doesn't mean anything because Donovan Mitchell hasn't actually won the games in the second round here. But as far as the stats and what he means to his team, I see it. I think he is a big time, he has got so much playoff experience. It's crazy. He does have 1 bad game in the playoffs, but it came in a win. But we're looking at 30, 13, 22, 33, and 48. He's been incredible.
He should be higher than this.
He might be in the tier above this.
The fact that Cleveland should have won that game the other night with no Darius Garland, no Evan Mobley, and no DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah.
Just so people know, Darius Garland is a major, major factor for them offensively.
Yes.
As a shot creator, as a shot maker, he's outstanding. Evan Mobley's the defensive player of the year and a good offensive player in his own right. Mm-hmm. And DeAndre Hunter is their sixth man.
Yeah, and
I guess probably seventh, but he's
really, really good since coming over.
Yes, he's been a key player for them off the bench.
Yeah. In Donovan Mitchell's last 12 playoff games, he's averaging 32.3 points per game.
Come on.
Yeah, he's a tier above, for me.
They should have won the other night. The fact that they didn't was not a Donovan Mitchell problem. It was an execution problem, it was a boxing out problem.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, to me, belongs a tier higher.
Yeah.
Because if you're a Pacers fan, you're terrified of the Cavs still because of Donovan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Darius Garland's supposed to play tonight, and Hunter and Mobley are supposed to be back tonight, but you're terrified of number 45.
Yeah. Anthony Edwards is a great player.
Anthony Edwards is the third player in this 3-person level.
Yeah, I can't put him in the same level as yes, Halliburton, but no with Mitchell. I just think Mitchell's in a different category.
This is why tiers are better than pyramids.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Ant, it's just because the ceiling is just so unbelievably high.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like he's still either figuring out when, or maybe it's the way he's defended, and he's still trying to. He still needs to see more playoff defenses and have more playoff experience.
With Ant?
Maybe. He's played a ton of playoff games, though, I guess.
He's played 34 games, and he's averaged 27.3 points per game in the playoffs. So, and not only that, but he's had some of the biggest high-end games.
Mm-hmm.
So, in his the first playoff series he ever played, he had a 36 and a 30, a 41, a 36, a 34.
Here's the thing that this is my only hesitation with Anthony Edwards. In the closeout game against the Lakers, they won 103-96. He scored 15 points. He had 11 boards, 8 assists. He did have 3 steals, but he went 0 for 11 from 3 and 5 of 19 from the field. And maybe he's getting better at finding ways to impact games when he's not scoring.
Yep.
But that's the one thing that's kind of I don't want to put him below that, though. I don't want to put him a tier below trustworthy.
No, I'm fine with him there.
Okay.
I'm just not fine with Donovan Mitchell there. I think Mitchell needs to be up higher.
Mitchell's above Ant and Halliburton for me.
Yeah. Sure. And we're going to get to the next tier, but there's a player in that tier that I'm like, I guess you can question whether he's reliable at this point, but I don't know how you can.
So that's the next one. And again, we're doing a pyramid levels, not tiers. It's a very different thing. This is the sometimes trustworthy tier. And again, this is via the Ringer. In this tier, I'm going to name the names: Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Aaron Gordon, and Julius Randle. Okay, so there's a process thing here where they decided they were doing the pyramid and needed 4 players to go here.
Mm-hmm.
So Steph, they note that it's the hamstring is the reason he's sometimes trustworthy. But I think if we're removing that, to me, he goes in the tier with Donovan Mitchell, wherever you're going to put Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. This probably needed to be a 5-tier pyramid, not a 4-tier pyramid.
Pyramid?
There it is.
Yeah. Nice.
Now you did just invent something.
I did just that's a me thing.
A pyramid.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's right.
Trademark the insiders, ESPN 1320. No, but I get it. If right now, if you're going, hey, I'm today, right now on May 9th, 2025, if I'm betting on one of these guys, it's like, man, okay, let's say Steph comes back for game 5. Are you certain you're getting 38 minutes out of him? And are you getting a good 38 minutes? Now, if Steph's healthy, like I said, of course, he came out and he was cooking against Minnesota before he got hurt. Honestly, the fact that he made that little leaner that he made with the bum hamstring is pretty impressive. But if you have no idea what his injury status is, I get why he would be in the sometimes trustworthy category. I guess, but I mean, people have brought it up. Like,
Russ Dog brings it. Aaron Gordon over Jaylen Brown. Where's Jaylen Brown in this? We're talking about the guy who literally won the Finals MVP last year.
It says right now.
Today, right now. Okay.
And like I said, there was a whole podcast that went with this that I didn't listen to. I'm just going off of what they posted on the internet.
Yeah. Okay.
I would put Jaylen Brown in the sometimes category.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jaylen Brown is averaging 22.6 points per game in the 2024-25 NBA playoffs. I mean, he's been really good.
But no.
I'm also, where's Jamal Murray in this? What is happening? This pyramid is crazy,
Wild
Kyle.
Pyramid. Jason Tatum belongs in the sometimes pyramid, or it's sometimes level right now.
Yeah, he does.
And I think that Jaylen Brown belongs there for the same reason. Because if they had a quote unquote trustworthy star on their team, they're up 2-0 in this series.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that Jason Tatum didn't even get a shot off at the end of the game. That's come on, dude. And we can parse and pick apart why Jason Tatum's not effective or hasn't. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. Why Jason Tatum has not been effective in these 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the fact that I walked out of the 2022 NBA Finals and went, man, is Jason Tatum really their best guy? Because Jaylen Brown was the more impressive player in that series. I'm not totally sure Jason Tatum's their best player. And then they lost in the first round the next year, right? They lost to Miami the first round where they were down 3-0 and then tied the series and then lost game 7. That's the thing that happened, right? I have that order correct. And then they win the title last year. But Jaylen Brown was the finals MVP and the conference finals MVP. So Tatum's obviously awesome. And you look at all the regular season stuff and he's incredible. And last year during their playoff run, he was incredible. Probably should have been the finals MVP. But then he comes into this year and just does no shows. I can't trust him.
I guess. But man, you go back to the Philly series in 2023.
Yeah, 51 in a game 7.
Dropped 51 in a game 7. I don't know. But then the Miami series, he put up 14 in a game 7.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess you're probably right, but I just can't imagine. I mean, this is the best player. We can argue about it, whether he's the best player on the best team.
We're talking about right now, though, on May 9th, 2025, with everything we know based on right now.
I guess. I mean, if you're going to take the 0-2 start in this series, then you've got to put him in that category, but that seems pretty tough.
No, but okay. If we know how loaded the Celtics are, if Jason Tatum is that dude, then there's no worries, right?
Yeah, that's true.
If he's that dude, they are that much better than the Knicks, or they should be, in theory. If Jason Tatum is playing at that level, and frankly, we want to bring Jaylen Brown into the discussion, if he's playing at the level we all know he can play at, then they should win the next 4. The problem is when it's come down to crunch time in these games, they've twice blown 20-point leads at home.
Yeah. They're down 0-2 in a series, and both are home games. That's
and they
tough.
were up 20 in both. Yeah, you don't get to hang out in a tier above sometimes trustworthy.
No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, in those games where you know how much is on the line, I expect more than a 23-pointer in a 13-point game.
I need to remove Aaron Gordon from the conversation right now because he belongs in a higher tier of a different pyramid. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Aaron Gordon, to me, is one of the most trustworthy role players in the playoffs.
See, we should have done this. We talked about the other day. We can
do it. We have another 45 minutes of program left.
No, that's true. But we talked about this idea of who has the best star in the draft. I mean, in the playoffs, right? We should have said who had the second best player. Who has the third best player, because then we probably could have come up with who might actually be the team, right?
Sure.
So I think by avoiding, because it doesn't matter how good Jason Tatum is if the guys around him just completely fall apart.
That's a great point. Jason Tatum could average 50 for the next 2 nights, but if the rest of the team is going to shoot 16% from 3, it's not going to matter. Yeah,
look at what Donovan Mitchell's done.
Sure.
Donovan Mitchell's been absolutely off the charts great.
Yeah.
But they're 0-2, and they're 0-2 because they're missing 3 players.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I think there are better role players than Aaron Gordon in the playoffs, especially if you're going to put if Star is by themselves and then we're doing everything after that.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown obviously belongs up there.
Pascal
Siakam's up there.
I mean, that's where
And
Evan
just kind of
Mobley.
the Cavs in general, the Pacers in general, the Celtics in general, just are super deep like that. Jimmy Butler, is there, but Aaron Gordon in the sometimes Aaron Gordon's trustworthy all of the time. I know exactly what I'm going to get.
Yeah,
but if you're expecting him to be a superstar and go get you 40, yeah, probably not. But if you need him to knock down a game-winning three or be in the exact right spot to throw down a game-winning dunk, he's going to be there.
Yep.
He's going to do the stuff role players are supposed to do.
Well, even, for that matter, Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is a guy who locked up Jason Tatum on the final play.
Yeah.
Like, that's why he's there.
Yep.
It's to be an elite role player in a moment like that against a specific player that they went out and traded for you to stop.
After the conversation after the postseason was, man, they gave up too much for Mikal Bridges. Mm-hmm. He's just not that guy anymore on either end of the floor. And then he's like, nope, playoff time, I am that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Impressive.
Maybe we can do that. We can start working through that. I don't want to try and do that on air because it's going to be a lot of us going,
yeah.
And that's not compelling.
Nope.
But we'll put that together. We'll put together the trustworthy role player tier.
Okay.
Joe Brazil's a trustworthy role player.
The trustworthy.
The trustworthiest.
We have to call
Blue guy.
The trustworthy. What do we call it? The
Pyramid.
All
right.
I was gonna say that earlier, but I didn't want to get dragged for that. And
if you have a dumb joke, always make it.
Pyramid.
The ethos of this show. Nice one, Joe.
Thank you. I thought of it first.
What?
Makes you want a tiramisu. Makes you want a tiramisu real bad. All right. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil's here. We're the Insiders. Sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We haven't talked about George Pickens and the Steelers yet. I'm going to relate the George Pickens trade to the Cowboys to the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, I'm here for it.
And I need to get to this now.
We'll talk about it now. As in after the break?
Well, we got to step aside on the radio side to do some commercials. But after that, we'll talk about the George Pickens trade to the Cowboys, how it relates to the Kings. We're the Insiders. Joe, hit the break. Look at this guy. Why they pay you the big bucks, Joe? Yep. Hi, everyone. Hey, Joe, are you in a spot that you can entertain the chatty house for a minute?
Absolutely. I didn't want to talk too much because I didn't want to. They have their headphones on, so when I'm talking to you guys, they can hear me as well. They need to hear themselves. But how are we feeling, chatty house? We got another Giants game today. I can always talk Giants. Let's talk amongst ourselves. Did anyone see that video of Jung-Hoo Lee getting the first reaction to when he got signed to the Giants? I think that came out today on Twitter. That was pretty cool. What you guys got going on for the weekend? Go A's. There you go, Russ Dog.
I'm back.
And now James Ham, everybody.
Hello.
Who's my favorite Giants pitcher of all time? Oh, that's a good question. It's got to be Lincecum because that was around the time that I grew up.
What was that?
It's got to be. Thank you. I appreciate it. Everyone check out the brand. They're sick. A whole new day.
Not a winner.
Maybe.
I went to a game when I was a kid where Rick Russell pitched a 2-hitter against the Mets. That was the first Giants game I ever went to.
There you go.
Big Daddy, Rick Russell.
And so we got another white guy I'm being compared to. Now we have Lincecum.
I got nothing there.
I don't know. There was a couple of good ones early on, but I feel like it's starting to.
We're jumping the shark.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to be able to finish this.
Favorite Giant of all time's got to be Buster Posey. I mean, these are very basic answers, but I grew up. I remember when he was drafted. I remember when he made his debut. I was a catcher my whole life because of him. So it's got to be Buster Posey. But I really liked all the underdog guys like Freddie Sanchez, Gregor Blanco, Marco Scutaro.
Kyle Madsen.
Kyle Madsen. Just talking guys.
Big underdog guy.
Joe looks like segment, right? College dorm mates, younger brother. All right.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Not a lot of things get me more fired up to do radio
than a good pyramid.
Than a little Andre Nicotina. Well, 4am Baber.
Shout out Andre Nicotina. Absolutely.
Legend. That I don't have a good segue. I'm going to talk about underdog. I have lost. Hang on, I'm going to count here. My underdog losing streak is epic here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive lineups.
Oh no.
And 6, 7, 8, and 8 of my last 9. Yikes. Last night, I was like, man, Kevon Looney, higher than 4.5 points. Didn't play.
Oh no.
Played no minutes, which is kind of nuts to me, but that's a whole separate thing. Jonathan Kuminga, higher than 7.5 points. Nailed it. That was easy work. Rudy Gobert, higher than 9.5 points. Thought for sure. Oh, Minnesota's going to take advantage with Rudy Gobert and his size. Nope. Didn't do that at all. 5 points. Dante DiVincenzo, higher than 10.5 points. I need Dante DiVincenzo to make 3 threes and a 2. Yeah, that's easy work, right? Wrong. He made 3 threes and that's it. He finished with 9. Brandon Pajemski, higher than 13.5 points. Hey, no Steph Curry. Brandon Pajemski's going to run the point a lot. I foolishly thought that Brandon Pajemski, the swaggering guy with a lot of hair, was going to not be terrified to shoot the basketball in the playoffs. Alas, here we are, 11 points. And then Anthony Edwards, higher than 27.5. He only needed 20. And he got hurt. He busted up his ankle, left in the first half, came back for the second half. But like I said, at that point, they didn't really need him to take over that game.
Did you do a 6 play?
Yeah, I did. I'm on tilt, bro.
Bold.
I'm fully on tilt.
Bold.
I usually do three players at the flex play. It's you just pick higher or lower on at least 2-player stat projections, and you can turn $1 into $1,000. I'm turning $1 into $0 right now. But alas, that's why underdog is the best, because they've got NBA playoffs, they've got NHL, they've got Major League Baseball, of course, in full swing, WNBA. They've got all your favorite teams, all your favorite sports, all your favorite players. And I would love for you to play along with me. Maybe next time I give a lineup, you just fade it. Just go against everything I'm saying, and you can win some money, because apparently doing the opposite of what I'm doing right now is the way to win. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code KyleM. That's KYLEM to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code KyleM, KYLEM. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
There we go.
I got him. I hate when I've lost a bunch because I get the yips.
Oh.
When you're winning with daily fantasy, you just kind of jump in and you're just like, all right, that one, let's go. We're rolling. Right now, I'm looking at, I'm scrolling through everything. I'm like, which one of these is like in Severance? In Severance, if you're not familiar, the microdata refinement team, that's the main job of the main characters. They basically just scroll through numbers and then certain numbers will pop out to them and they grab them and they put these in certain buckets. Show explains the whole thing. That's how it feels when you're rolling on daily fantasy and underdog.
Mm-hmm.
The number will just jump out like, oh, Jimmy Butler higher than 4.5 rebounds. Yeah, give me that. Like for sure. And then right now, none of the numbers jumping out. They all look the same to me.
I feel for you, Kyle.
I'll win a lineup eventually.
Okay.
I hope.
Anyways. I'm not convinced.
Thanks, Jim. Your support means the world. So That's James. I'm Kyle. Joe Brazil on the 1s and 2s are doing. Is he in there? Oh yeah, Joe's in there. What's up, Joe? We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube.
I'm on the 1s and 2s.
You are 1sing and 2sing right now.
There's 1s here. I was on the 2s.
Oh, on the 2s over there doing
I was
some
on
editing.
The 2s.
Nice.
Yeah, I got you.
Shout out to Joe. Doing a ton of work behind the scenes. We appreciate all of it. So this happened a while ago, and I meant to get to it, and we just really haven't. But the Steelers traded wide receiver George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to relate this to the Sacramento Kings because the overarching takeaway from Steelers fans, as I was reading various blogs and posts and all that, was that the Steelers are stuck in the middle. And they've kind of when you look at their history over the last kind of 15 years or so, they've kind of been here where they're stuck in this middle ground of, are they trying to win now? Are they committing to winning now, like winning a Super Bowl? Not just treading water, having a winning season and making the playoffs. It's like committed to trying to win a Super Bowl now, or is this about you take some lumps this year to give yourself a better opportunity to build for the future?
Yep.
Those are kind of the two paths you can take. And right now, the Steelers are treading water between the two of them, is the general complaint I've seen from Steelers fans. So couldn't care less about the Steelers. It feels a little bit to me as I was reading this, I was like, this kind of feels like where the Kings have landed. And not that this is on Scott Perry or Doug Christie or Domantas Sabonis or DeMar DeRozan or whomever. It's not necessarily on them. This is just where they've landed. They have intentionally or not landed in this space between, well, not really, and maybe Scott Perry changes this offseason, and that's what this offseason is going to be all about, and we'll talk about that. We'll follow it every step of the way here on ESPN 1320, but they're currently, as of May 9th, to me, stuck in that exact same space where, okay, they might win some games this year. Again, with the current roster, we don't know what the roster is going to look like, but right now, they're not really going to win a title. And there's not a ton of resources on this roster to believe they're going to do that with this group. But also, this group isn't so bad that it's like, all right, well, this is a 20-win team. Let's talk lottery. If the Kings, without a major move this offseason, which is a key element of this, without a major move this offseason, we're going to go in to the year going, all right, well, we kind of know what the team is. 42 to 46 wins, depending on health and how the ball bounces. Like they're just kind of in that spot. And maybe 46 wins is the 4 seed. Who knows? Like the West is weird. But I don't think we'd go into the year going title contender, but we also wouldn't go into the year going, well, they've blown it up. This team is going to stink.
Yeah, the tough thing that, like, if you go back through the history of the Kings, they've been in a similar situation to this, except for maybe the step below this so many times. Like,
sure.
Right. Yeah. So you're not just the worst team in the league. They've had that for a couple of years, right? They, during the late 2000s, they were right in that range where, again, they finished with, 17, 25, 24, 22 wins. Boom, boom, boom. Right. But then you got just a little bit better than that because, the Tyreek Evans draft pick kind of panned out. The DeMarcus Cousins draft pick kind of panned out. So you jumped up into this next tier. And to me, that the tier that they're in, they're right above that right now. But the tier where you're drafting between like 7 and 12 every year is the worst, most gross tier ever.
Just awful. Because
what you do is not only do you have mediocre draft picks that maybe hit, maybe don't, like the chance of them hitting is way lower. But on top of that, you're always in this almost to the salary cap. And so you do death by mid-level, right? And that's kind of where you're really concerned that they're heading right now.
Yeah.
Because, like, I can tell you, like, the Kings, like, they don't have a ton of, like, tradable assets. They do have some tradable assets. I mean, you can trade Keegan Murray. You can trade Malik Monk. You might be able to trade DeMar DeRozan. Like if you wanted to go all in and like blow this thing up, you can trade Domas, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the real trade assets that you would hope to have are either young players that don't fit your system or whatever, and you're going to be able to move them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a ton of that stuff, but they do have a bunch of trade exceptions. They've got a mid-level exception. They can go out and find like a $16 million player, a $14 million player, a $7 million player.
Mm-hmm.
They can go up to the luxury tax or go over the luxury tax. They could piece this together in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
But that would require like really, really savvy moves.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't miss, right?
That's it.
And if you're going to trade, like, let's just say you find a $16 million player that you love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, this is a guy that would fit perfectly. Let's say a Bobby Portis or a Nas Reed or whatever. In order to get those players, no one is just going to give you that player for free. So now it's draft capital. So now
Mm-hmm.
you are hurting like what you might have, your war chest of stuff. And it's going to be very difficult, but there are pathways through this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they can figure those pathways out or not, I don't know. But for right now, this is where you had come to a point with a group of people that could not get you past this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, it's just like if you get to the second round of the playoffs multiple times
Mm-hmm.
and you keep bombing out in the first or second round, well, it's probably time for you to fire your coach and start over.
Mm-hmm.
Or bring in somebody who has got you over.
Has to make a significant change at that point.
Yeah, that's taken a team that's gone past
Mm-hmm.
that and gone and won. So I think that's kind of where the Kings got to. Like you got a group of guys that could build a team, but then they stopped their build way too early.
Yeah.
And they just kind of got stagnant. And then their, oh no, we're going to get
stuck
fired
themselves
move.
in that middle ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Their, oh no, we're going to get fired move was to go out and to sign DeMar DeRozan. Like, oh, we've got to do something or we're going to get roasted again. And that's where you start to make mistakes. You have to be proactive in the league. You cannot be reactive.
Oh, yeah.
On occasion, you can be reactive. Like, for example, the Mikal Bridges like acquisition by the New York Knicks was reactive. We cannot stop the combination of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
We've got to be reactive. Good. Yeah.
That's that jump from, okay, we're a team that's going to be out in the first couple of rounds every year unless we do this. And that's what's going to be really interesting with Scott Perry and the Kings. And this is, again, what their to me, their biggest task is this offseason, is you talk about trying to save that war chest of picks.
Mm-hmm.
And ideally, in an ideal world, if you're not going to use those picks, you're trading them for a star.
Yeah.
What I worry about, and I think what they're going to have to gauge is, all right, if it's going to take a couple of firsts to get, Nas Reed, let's just I don't know exactly the mechanics of it, but that level of player, the risk, the assessment has to be, okay, is it worth kind of squandering a couple of picks here and there on this guy and another couple of picks here and there on this guy, and then we got rid of a pick to get rid of this salary, and all of a sudden you're down a bunch of picks and you've gotten like a little better. You've gotten, oh, okay, that's a playoff team, but they're not doing anything in the playoffs. Better.
Yeah, it's tough. We're talking about, I mean, this isn't to like throw shade. We're talking about like the Kevin Huerter level of trade acquisition, because that's what you did. You traded, expiring contracts for Kevin Huerter, but you gave up a protected pick in that trade.
Right. Like a capable player, but not one that's going to elevate and your trajectory.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, the time for that trade when you could have
ceiling is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
The problem that you have now is that you've reduced your ceiling by trading De'Aaron Fox, who had a much higher ceiling than any player that the Kings currently have. Like, that's not to be, again, disrespectful to Zach LaVine. It's just like, for me, it's a fact. Like, he's a like
I think I agree.
right at all-star star level point guard that still had room to grow, right? Whether he could have got you there or not, I don't know. But the point is that if you would have made the move to add a Pascal Siakam, an all-star level player, or a Zach LaVine when you still had De'Aaron Fox, or I don't even want to say Cam Johnson. like a better player than Cam Johnson at the small forward spot, like to OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges, if you would have been the team that went and done that then, you could have put this team easily could have jumped into a conversation of, can you contend?
Right.
Like, and people can look at me and say, you're crazy if you think that adding Mikal Bridges to the Kings team instead of Harrison Barnes would have jumped you into competitive. Like, I don't know.
I don't think it would have.
It very well could have. You missed the opportunity to take your team from good to great.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're stuck at good, and you're not even on the high side of good. You're on the kind of good side.
Yeah.
And that's a tough spot to be.
You're right on that edge of a bad good team or a good bad team.
Yep.
Like you're right on. And that's where this is so tough. And this is not, and again, this is not blaming anybody for anything. It's just the reality of kind of where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Is the risk they run this offseason is not doing anything that takes them out of that middle. And in 5 years, okay, Domantas Sabonis is past his prime and Zach LaVine's past his prime. And you're sitting here without a war chest of picks. You made a couple of small moves and you never got past the first round.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting here and you've wasted 5 years of existence for nothing.
And the prime of a bunch of your players. And that's why, again,
just pick a freaking road. I don't care which one it is.
No, I totally agree.
Commit
but
one way or the other.
I'll tell you this, man, when they missed on OG Anunoby, and very specifically, one of the reasons why they did not make the OG Anunoby trade was they were concerned about the money they were going to have to pay OG when they did trade for him.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks just paid it.
Yep.
That's the difference. The Knicks just go, you know what, we'll give you the assets, and you know what, we're going to pay you.
Yep.
And you can look at the trade and say, hey, the Kings couldn't have competed with the trade that you made, that the Knicks, what they gave up,
Emmanuel quickly
and RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
Like, no, the Kings could not have competed with the players that they got. The Kings could have competed with draft picks.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
But the point is that if you're not willing to make that financial commitment, and another team is now, vying for the Eastern Conference, like they're one step away. They're up 2-0 on the Celtics, away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals and potentially the NBA Finals. That's a big deal.
Going to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they may face Pascal Siakam, who's now been to the Eastern Conference Finals twice.
Yeah.
In that scenario.
Yeah.
They may not get Pascal.
It's the two players that you passed on, and not specifically because you wouldn't give up the assets, because you wouldn't pay them.
Right.
That was the discussion. And it was like, hey, no, we're not going to pay $220 million, I think is what OG Anunoby got. I get it. And you can say, I'll be honest with you, OG Anunoby is not a Hall of Famer. DeMar DeRozan is. I don't care.
OG Anunoby's a way better fit.
One of them fit better and would have meant taking another logical step, and the other one did not.
Can you imagine, man? It would have been so much better out of the gate if they had OG instead of DeRozan.
Well, it brings us back to that line that I told you, the Ken Rosenthal line today, that I saw that just like stood out so heavily to me.
Yeah.
And it was something about like, when you fire a manager, that's a failure of a franchise, of an organization. This last year, just straight up, firing of Mike Brown was not a failure of Mike Brown. It was a failure of the franchise.
That's it. When you start stacking up all the reasons he got let go, that all starts at the top.
Yep.
And trickles down. Everybody played a role in it, for sure. All right. We got the handoff coming up next. Maybe we'll run this by D'Lo or Casey, whoever's in there. And we got a couple of playoff games to talk about tonight. Mark Jones on the call for Thunder and Nuggets. Game 3 of that series tonight in Denver. That's television voice of the Kings, Mark Jones. And Cavs are at the Pacers. Really interesting things with the betting lines in these series. I want to talk about that during the handoff as well. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil on the ones and twos, just on the ones right now. This is the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports Center. ESPN will call its forthcoming flagship streaming app ESPN. Shout out to the homie Alex Sherman.
What's happening? Yeah, this is the line from Ken Rosenthal. When a manager is fired, it's an organizational failure. I don't. That captures this situation so much. Like, you have dissension in the ranks. Usually, it's an organizational issue. You have, you don't go get the players you need. That's an organizational thing. Norm will the Rat Trap sandwiches from the Cheese Shop in Newcastle. So if you get off the freeway in Newcastle, take a left over the overpass and go into Old Town Newcastle. It's at the sort of end of the block there, and it's been there forever. And it's amazing. Aldrin J, I cannot wait for this. This is going to be awesome.
What is it?
Man U versus Tottenham for the Europa League final next week. The winner gets a Champions League invite. So even though Man U is horrible on the table, on the Premier League table, they can get into Champions League, which is like the extra tournaments that you play during the season that are the Champions League is the top of the top. And it really helps you go out and get players in the off season.
Dope.
Because players want to play in the Champions League.
Right.
Yeah. So you can go from a team that's like not very good to, hey, at least they're in the Champions League. And if I can go there, I can start. And we'll go play in Champions League. Tottenham is not good.
It's my mother-in-law's team.
Hotspurs.
Yeah. Father-in-law is a Arsenal supporter, along with my aunt-in-law. Is that a thing?
Okay.
Along with my wife's aunt and my wife's grandfather. They're all Arsenal supporters.
Leezy,
I've stayed out of it.
This is I don't know, how much time do we have? Maybe we'll discuss this on, okay. Am I nervous the Kings might be in the same position again, going from good to great, but not spending the money needed? Like, I don't want to give Vivek a free pass here. I don't. But what I will say is I feel like a lot of times when they get to this position, it is like a general manager, like the Wes and Monty combo, that we're like, hey, we're not comfortable paying that guy this much money. We don't think that that's going to be a good idea. Where with Domas, they're like, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna.
It's not an ownership edict saying, hey, don't pay that guy.
No, it's more of we don't want to strap our be cash strapped for the next 4 years because of this.
But I also think at some point, like, you've just got to take that jump.
Mm-hmm.
Most of that family's from England.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
That shirt is unbelievable.
Thanks, man.
Damian Barling's here. Oh, hang on. I have a thing for this. As soon as Future turns down, hang on.
Percocet? Molly Percocet?
Molly Percocet. Yeah. It's my third grade teacher, Molly
Mr.
Percocet.
Oh, very
Miss
good.
Percocet.
Yeah, well, yeah. She was the hot one. She was the one, yeah.
It's time now for the handoff. Taking the handoff from James and Kyle today, here's D'Lo, Damian Barling.
Yeah, it's him, Damian Barling, D'Lo and KC. Coming up next.
What was that a question?
Coming up next?
No, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
We're sticking with
5 years. Yeah, we're
sticking with that?
staying with 12 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever you want to do.
I know.
Your show.
I know.
Your show.
Very digging my own grave.
Hey, have we? Let's see. Do we want to do the trustworthy pyramid with Damian, or talk about the playoff games tonight?
I like the trustworthy.
Okay.
Is there a reason it's so humid in here? Did you guys just say
we're listening to my
Siri
mixtape?
set the temperature to Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I did spray Lysol just in case.
Yeah, you sound like crap. Why are you here?
Oh, I'm feeling way better.
Oh,
it's just a residual.
Terrible.
It's just a residual voice.
Man.
That's
okay. I got you. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know why it's humid.
Yeah,
I didn't think about it until just now.
But now you're noticing it's very humid in here.
I did. Why is it? Oh, God.
It's not me.
James, you are hot. Come on, man.
Our friends at the Ringer.
Yeah. Well.
The people at the Ringer.
Thank you.
Put together a pyramid of the most trustworthy playoff stars right now. Getting away from tiers to go to pyramid, not a move I love.
Okay.
But we can save that for another day.
Okay.
This is a whole podcast discussion. They posted a graphic, so I grabbed the graphic. I haven't listened to the podcast yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts with one player at the top, then 2 in the next level, 3 in the next level, 4 in the next level, and it starts with the most trustworthy player in the NBA playoffs right now. It's Nikola Jokic.
Okay.
And I think that's fair.
Fine. Sure.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Tier 2 is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Brunson.
I'm good with that. I'm good
I was
with
out
that.
on Shai there, but then James talked me into it. He's
Could I talk anyone into Jalen being in tier 1?
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
I literally go ahead.
I just feel like Jalen's been one of the best, maybe the best player in the entire playoffs. I know they went to a 7-game series to start, but if
he has the ball, didn't it 6 games? 6 games.
What?
To start.
Oh, was it 6? Yeah, that's right. It didn't go 7. I
yeah.
wanted it to go to 7. It didn't.
Same.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, because I think when you talk trustworthy, you know what you're going to get from Jalen Brunson. Now it might be more or less efficient depending on the night.
Mm-hmm.
But when Jason Tatum got down the lane for the dunk the other night to go up 90-89, it was like, all right, well, Brunson's going to score. It's just with how much time.
Sure.
I was so certain he was going to put the ball in the hoop that I wouldn't, if somebody wanted to, and again, this is a pyramid, so there has to be 1 at the top and then 2. But if we're doing tiers, to me, he goes in tier 1.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen's been
he's unbelievable,
extraordinary. Like, I get the idea of the bit 1, 2, 3, but man, Jalen has been this might be a discussion later today. Like, I feel like he's been the definitive star of the playoffs.
Ooh.
And Tyrese to me is really, really close. I think Jokic is tough because
we
expect it. Yeah. And it's not, it's like Jalen with the ball in his hands late. Like, I'm kind of expecting him to make it. I didn't, part of putting Tyrese up there is I didn't expect Tyrese to do what he did against Milwaukee.
Yep.
In those closing moments, he was like, "No, it's me."
Mm-hmm.
Then he did it again.
Yeah. On the road.
Yeah. Right. Against the top seed.
We were talking about this and going through all the players. Man, Donovan Mitchell's been equally as good.
Well, yeah, he has. I actually feel bad for Donovan Mitchell.
33 and 48 in the 2 losses.
Yeah.
So their pyramid goes most trustworthy, extremely trustworthy,
okay,
and then just trustworthy.
Okay.
And in the trustworthy category is Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell, and Anthony Edwards. But James and I both were in agreement that Donovan Mitchell belongs on a different level than those guys.
I'm sorry. Give me Donovan, Ty, and who was the third one?
Anthony Edwards. Sorry.
Oh, Ant-Man. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. That's
Mitchell
all fine.
I trust Donovan Mitchell way more than I trust Halliburton and Ant right now.
Well, and even Halliburton's had game winners, but there are a lot of times where he hasn't been very good.
Like yeah, so but if we're talking really, I don't feel like I think Ty's game is a lot. It's more unique, like to Jalen and like Anthony Edwards, for example.
Yeah.
You don't really know what he's going to do from a night-to-night basis scoring. Like I think he had, I hope I'm not mixing these games up. I think he had 19 in that game where he got the rebound and hit the three. He had 11 of those in the fourth quarter. 19 isn't an eye-popping number. It's not the 48 that Donovan Mitchell had. It's not the 42 that Jokic had in their win against, Oklahoma City, but he had 11 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 11 points, 5 boards, and an assist. He was 4 of 7 from the field.
Yeah, but he's broke the 20-point mark 3 times in 7 games.
Yeah, but they're up 2-0 on the top seed.
Yeah.
And I think
he's just the point. The point
he's not going to be ass.
Yeah. The point in that is like he's not going to have the same scoring output that the other guys. In fact, all of the guys on this list are going to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not going to have that scoring output. It's like, is he going to affect the game in other ways? And when push comes to shove in the final minutes, can he hit the big shot? And 2 times, once against Giannis, and again against the top seed, he did.
Yeah.
Very true.
The sometimes trustworthy tier.
Oh, boy.
Steph Curry, because he has a hamstring injury.
Okay. By the way, it was the funniest game of all time last night. The funniest first 5 minutes of a basketball game I've ever seen, for multiple reasons. I'm derailing your tears. I'm so sorry. Your pyramid, not the tears, not the
tears. Yeah, they're not tears. Do not
get pyramids. I apologize. They go. What did we say? Just keep Buddy doing the same thing. Don't make him do something else. Make sure Buddy knows he can't start trying to be different because Steph Curry's out. First time Buddy touches the ball, he's in the corner. What's he do? He tries to dribble out of it. Then what happens? He just loses the goddamn ball.
Unbelievable.
2 minutes later, Steve Kerr's like, well, enough of that. Rudy Gobert might be the worst basketball player in history. That guy sucks. He could have easily have had 14 points in the first quarter last night, but he can't control the basketball nor his 7-foot frame. Then the camera pans to Steph Curry on the bench where he has nothing other than a dear God, my team sucks look on his face.
Yeah.
And here comes Buddy to sit his ass right next to him. This is all with 8 minutes left in the game. I don't even think Golden State has scored yet. In the first quarter. All with 8 minutes left in the first quarter. I don't think the Golden State Warriors had even scored yet. Epic. Absolutely. Steph's face was just, God, this team sucks.
I've never.
And then let's put in the guy who Steve Kerr won't play to go like 8 of 8 from the field to start or whatever it was.
I have never actually felt like a team might get shut out in the NBA. And you watch the first 4.5 minutes of that game or whatever, it's like, they might not score tonight.
I felt like, and it for any idiot like me who like talked, there's, if they just focus on,
that was me,
Jimmy, and don't let Buddy play, outside, they'll be okay. Couldn't have felt dumber. Could not have, other than my prize pick. Well, sorry. Never mind. It's on social media.
Hang on.
Yep.
Other than your underdog. Nope. Hang on. Nope. Daily fantasy.
Thank you.
Is the word I was looking for.
Yeah. No, that went bad. I was trying to hate on Draymond Green. That went great. Everything else, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, and I can't wait to talk about Draymond Green. Stop framing Draymond Green as an angry black man. Stop it. Both of you. You two are guilty of this. You, Anthony Slater, all of the rest of you, you're framing Draymond Green as an angry black man. That man is successful. He's black and he has a family. He'll tell you that repeatedly. Then he'll storm away.
I'm uncomfortable.
Did you guys? I'm guessing.
I'm not talking for the rest of the show. There's about a minute left. You keep going.
This is just a guess. Did you two not discuss this today?
We did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't avoid it.
Okay.
So we avoided
because it's your guys' fault.
We avoided right, which is why we didn't talk about that. So it's post-game comments. Like to me, where we stand on that, the on-court stuff is a different conversation. We had that conversation. to me, when he says, the narrative is that I'm being framed as this angry black, like that to me, as a white dude, is not my place to tell him yes or no. If that's how he feels, like, and I know that the fan got ejected for saying something racist to him. If that's how he's like, I'm just okay. Like that's how that stuff is all to me separate from, hey, stop punching people in the face on the court.
Kicking,
stomping, punching, elbowing.
Yeah.
Dropping your leg on someone's head.
I hear you. That's probably the responsible approach. You don't have to separate the two. You're covering professional basketball. He is a professional basketball player.
I understand that, but if he feels in his heart,
no, but he doesn't. That's the problem. Like, he doesn't.
I don't feel it's my place to.
And that's
tell
fine.
Him that.
And that's fine. It's going to be mine.
Okay.
It's also why I don't tell people they've got to come home.
Yeah,
I've got a full head of hair. Kyle wants to tell people.
Kevin Carter, my brother in Christ.
Hold on.
Come home.
No, hold on. Go ahead.
Oh,
Keep going.
Okay. Kevin Carter, you have 2 hours to bring me the bat. D-Lo and KC coming up next. That's James Hammond, Kyle Madsen for Joe Brazil. Everybody have a great weekend. We're the Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Back at 10 a.m. on Monday. Can't wait for that, but can't wait for D-Lo and KC coming up next right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Until Monday at 10, drink water, be nice, people. See you.